Let's go on to the main event. As mentioned before, it is Miesha Tate taking on Ketlen Vieira. And Miesha Tate, these odds go back quite a ways because she took 5 years off right there in between the Renault and the Pennington fight. But she is loved by the fan base and loved by the odds makers, really. I mean, this woman has been a favorite usually in the majority of her bouts, including, look at that, minus 260 against Amanda Nunes back in 2016. If only we could go back to 2016 and lay some large money on Amanda Nunes as a plus challenger against Miesha Tate. But we do have an opportunity to bet Miesha Tate's fight this weekend. And which way are we going to go? She is the underdog in this one. Vieira right now at minus 120.
Where's Marty McFly when you need him with that almanac, right? That would have been fantastic to cash in on there with Amanda Nunes. You know what? For me, this is a really stylistically, this is a terrible fight in my opinion for Vieira. Reason being is that if you look at her losses, Irene Aldana, she got outstruck pretty bad in that fight. She got knocked out. Against Yana Kunitskaya, that's where I'm going to compare it to Miesha here. Yana's striking is okay, but her clinch game, her wrestling, and her cardio, very good. Someone like Miesha Tate, before she came back, really used her overhand right to set up her wrestling. It was a little predictable. She got in a lot of brawls, and that was just the type of fighter she was. In her last fight against Marion Renaud, we saw a much different fighter. We saw composure, we saw confidence, we saw very technical boxing, and when the wrestling was there, she was able to get it with ease because the boxing was really impactful here. And on top of that, the big difference between the two is going to be the cardio. Ketlen Vieira tends to fade as the fight goes on. Miesha gets better, stronger, faster, and the only reason why Miesha, in my opinion, is an underdog here is because the lack of activity, becoming a mother. And in her last fight, Marion Renaud, not necessarily a top 5 fighter, but for me, it was just seeing how Miesha would approach that fight. And again, Marion Renaud is a very good striker. Miesha outstruck her, brought the fight to the ground. I think between the two, Ketlen Vieira has to land hard and early and make this a dog fight. And I think Miesha has just really matured over the years, taken her time, got the passion back, and she's going here to win. She's got one goal in mind, to get to the belt. She's not saying no to any contenders that are put in front of her. And you know, Vieira is a very strong athlete. I think Miesha's IQ, though, is where it comes into play. Plus 100, Miesha 2.0.
All right, real quick, Ian. I mean, obviously, we're going through all of these plays, and you're giving out a lot of different plays, and you have varying degrees of confidence in all of them. How confident are you in Miesha Tate? How much do you love this bet in the main event?
I really, really, really strongly like this bet on Miesha Tate. I don't think there's too many women in the division who beat a mentally strong Miesha. You know, in her last few fights prior to, she even said she just didn't have it anymore. And in this sport, you can't continue if mentally you're not there. That's when you get hurt. That's when, you know, your status tends to drop, your stock falls a little bit, and she was losing to people that I don't think at her best she would lose to even remotely close. So to see Miesha so mentally focused and wanting to be here, this is where we take advantage of this line, because after this, we're not going to get Miesha at an underdog situation until she fights for the belt.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.